Hey guys, so it is going on quarter to noon on January 2nd. Starting this vlog because I had no time to vlog at all yesterday to start off Battle with the Bookish. I was actually out visiting a friend of mine who was home for Christmas, and I basically spent all day out there with her. I left my parents' house after staying the night with them New Year's Eve at about 8:30 in the morning, almost 9 a.m., and was not back home until about almost 8:30 at night. So I was out all day and I had so much fun. I had such a good time. And New Year's Eve, I also, while I was back home by my parents, had taken all of the books that I needed to sell to the secondhand bookstore that I go to out there. I finally managed to get those sold off. I had 96 books. 96. I did not realize I had that many, and I ended up getting a good chunk of change for all of them, like almost $1 per book. It was like $115 that I was able to get. So naturally, because it was not quite the beginning of my book buying ban, and also because I had a gift card that is credit for that store, because that's the only way they can give money is through credit, I ended up getting a few things because I had said that in my book buying ban, if I had a gift card for any kind of store, I was allowed to use that to get books. And that is the only way I am able to get books, is if I have a gift card. So I found pretty much all of these were new. One of them was a little bit older in the sense that it was originally a pre-order that was never picked up, that I nabbed. But I'm going to show you guys what I got. I got 5 books and I still have like $60 left on that gift card. So the next time I end up taking books back, I probably will grab more because I have gift card money. So nothing lost, nothing gained. So, well, I guess definitely gained, but not really much lost in that. Like, I'm not spending my own money. It's literally money I get from the store to then purchase books that are there. So anyway, the first one I grabbed that I saw immediately was Blood Scion by Deborah Fallay. This I have heard nothing but good things about. I am a little concerned that I do have this on my Kindle. Okay, I just checked. I do not. I have heard amazing things about this book from my friends Bree and Brandy, and I do want to try to read this maybe in February. Just because I have already a lot of other books I'm planning on reading in January for Battle of the Bookish and all these other things. But I feel like I want to read this and then maybe even reread The Final Strife. I don't know why. Like, I love The Final Strife. It's one of my favorite books from 2022. But I don't know why exactly I want to reread it next month, but for some reason that seems like a really good idea. So maybe I will read both of those next month. We'll see. The next thing I grabbed was a copy of Mooncakes because I have never read this series and I would really like to read it. I have heard amazing things about it. It's very witchy and it's cute. And it also, I think, has LGBTQ representation, which I absolutely want to read more of. And especially, again, because it's witchy. Like, come on, you don't know me. I'm a practicing witch. I gotta read something like this. Then I picked up another book, which was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I have not really read anything by Riley Sager. I have his books Final Girls and The House Across the Lake, but I've been wanting to read more of his stuff. And I've heard that this one is not necessarily a favorite, but it's still like a pretty decent novel. So I figured at the very least I would get another book that I would probably want to read when I read his other 2 books, so that like I could kind of read them all together and see what my tastes are with him, because I have heard that each of the books are very different from each other in terms of tone and writing and all those things. So the next one is one that I was a little sad to find that it was only the sequel to this series, because I'm reading this series later in the year of 2023 for my N.K. Jemisin read-along, and they only had the second one, but it is The Shadowed Sun, which is the second book in the Dream Blood series by N.K. Jemisin. The first book is called The Killing Moon. Now, this apparently was a pre-order that somebody had originally got, and then they never picked it up, and so it was on sale, so I just got it. Like, I mean, it wasn't on sale in the sense that it was discounted, but like it was available for sale. And so yeah, I'm happy to see that I have this. I went through that entire store like 5 times and I couldn't find any more N.K. Jemisin, even in their used section. So I was kind of sad that I couldn't find more to grab while I was there, because that was ultimately my goal with going there, but that's fine. I found the one, I'm happy with that. I don't have to worry about getting this later. And again, when I go back to get more books in the future, I could probably find the other ones. Now, it kind of is sad because I have the first book in the 5th season series, but I didn't have the other 2. So I need to like borrow the other 2 from my library, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I can make it work. But I kind of want to try to find these with the gift card I have as much as I can. So I'm going to see when the next time would be that I could get myself out there, because unfortunately the days that they are closed are the days that I have off. So I got to figure out like the best time to like go over there next when I go to like especially unhaul books, but we'll see. But at the very least, I have one of the other books I need for this year that is for much later in the year, but I still have it, which is good. And then the last one I got was the newest graphic novel for the Mighty Nine Origins by Critical Role for Fjord Stone. This is Travis's character in the Mighty Nine, and I have now Yasha, Jester, and Caleb, which I think are the only ones they have so far for this series. And it was so cool too, because I didn't even realize when I was there that they had actually released the full 3rd volume of the Vox Machina Origins. I have all of the issues individually on my Kindle, but I saw like a physical bind up of the 3rd volume because that must have been released here really recently. And I was so tempted to get it, but I figured I have all of the issues by themselves. There's no reason for me to grab that. And then they also had a full bind up of the Bright Queen ones, which again, I have like all of the issues for, I'm pretty sure. So I didn't think it was really necessary for me to buy the bind up because I have all the issues on my Kindle. So, but I'm really happy about this one. This one was a recent release, like back at the end of December, and I'm wanting to get this, but I figured I would wait until I went to that store because I had a good feeling that they were going to have them, and they had some copies. So I was very, very happy with that. But those are the books I ended up getting with my gift card. I only spent about like $86 on all of these. And again, these are all like technically new releases, or these are like new retail for that store. So these are the more expensive ones as opposed to just buying off the used section. But I also didn't spend actual money. I had credit that I was able to use through that store for these. So I pretty much got these for free. And I just gave them like a ton of my books that I was already going to give. So I didn't really spend anything on these, and that was, I think, the best thing that I ever did, because again, with my book buying ban, I don't want to spend money that I have that I like need for other things. If I'm going to spend anything on books, it's going to be like credit or gift cards or anything that like I'm given, as opposed to like spending my own money, because I can't do that right now. But I'm happy with this. This was a good haul. I think that this is going to end up becoming something I'm going to really enjoy doing, especially when I can start doing my quarterly unhauls and all of that. So otherwise, today I've got therapy in a couple of minutes. I got to start up. But today, other than editing stuff, is I need to get through more of Red Rising. I have one more video I still need to finish filming because I couldn't film it yesterday. My camera battery had died, and I actually needed to sit down and think about some things because it was my series that I want to finish video that should have gone up already by this time. So yeah, I had to like sit down and figure out what series had I started that I really wanted to try to finish this year, because either I'm really close to finishing them, or they're series that like I know for a fact I don't have to like go back to the first book to reread, because there's a lot of series I've started where I'm like, I need to go back to the first book to figure out what happened, because it's been so long that I don't remember what happened in those series. But like, you know, The Wheel of Time is one of those series that I would like to try to finish this year if I can. Will that happen? I don't really know, but I would like to at least get it closer to being finished, if not ultimately finish it this year. Other than that, like I said, I just have to edit, and I would like to try to finish Red Rising because I don't have like too much of it left. I've got like over 100 pages, I mean, but like I think it's maybe like almost 150, but I could probably crank through this evening if I really, really wanted to. The videos for this week are not super long, so I think I could definitely get them edited quicker than normal, and then get them all set up for this coming week. And I want to do some journaling. I need to do some, you know, of my, you know, first of the month kinds of things, even though it's the second of the month, but like beginning of the month stuff, because of the fact that first of all, it's a new year, so I have to like go through my new tarot planner and my new almanacs and all those things and figure out, you know, the plans for the months and all that stuff and all that like witchy based things. And I need to go put these in my spreadsheet as well, which I might hold off on until maybe later this week. But at the very least, I need to like go through again probably and update my library, because I have gotten rid of a lot of things. So I probably need to update my library spreadsheets this month again, which I like doing that during the times of Battle of the Bookish because it makes the most sense. Like, I take the time to every day to like go through one letter of the alphabet for authors. That way by the end of that month, I have it all done. So we'll probably start that up either today or tomorrow after I get home from work. But yeah, and then this week I have a normal work week after all the holiday stuff. So I don't want to go back to work tomorrow because I'm just tired, but it is what it is. I'm excited for this new year with work because this is my last month of being on a probationary status because I've only been here now for 2 full months. So once this last month goes over, I will then get a raise, and then I should hopefully to be seeing a lot more progress in terms of like the business growing, and hopefully after that we will get some things rolling to where I can transition to more of a social media role by itself as opposed to doing receptioning and social media. I don't know whether or not that's going to happen in February, but at the very least, that's one of my big goals for this year with work, is to make it so that by, the end of the year, I've transitioned my role in that regard. So anyway, I'm just excited though, because like I said, after this month, my pay is going to go up automatically. That was a done deal. And my boss already knew after the first month what she wanted to do for myself and my coworker. So that is very exciting, but I have got to get going. My therapy session is going to start here in a couple minutes. So I want to get into that because today's going to probably be a rough one for that. We're starting on treatment for me for my PTSD, and it's not going to be fun, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So we'll see. Anyway, I will speak to all of you guys hopefully later today when I've made some progress on some stuff. Good morning, everybody. It is 8:36 in the morning on Wednesday. I have my AirPods in, so hopefully that cuts down on the noise that there is from the car. So I just got the phone with my husband this morning, and we were just talking about how things are going for this morning, because he always gets to work early before I do. He leaves about, before 7 a.m. and I don't usually leave until about 8:30 in the morning. So anyway, have a lot of updates because I finally managed to get a lot of things done in the last week. First of which being, I did manage to find an audiobook for Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Finally, I have been waiting to find something for weeks for this book so that I could listen to the last of it and then be able to get it done. And it finally became available on Script because it was not for like ever. And I went a couple days ago and I checked, and it was finally actually like something I could download. And so I got that all done last night. I finally finished Red Rising after having been working on it for almost an entire month. And I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked it. The battle scenes were really awesome. It was definitely one of those books where it is bloody, it is gory, it is no holds barred. Everyone's gonna die basically at some point at the hands of Darrow, and I loved that so much. I really liked the way that this was developed, especially how this one in particular really showcases, I think, a lot the fact of the matter being that Darrow's a very complicated man, but at the heart of him, he is all about revenge. And it almost is difficult to determine whether the people he gets to meet and the people that he supposedly builds these relationships with are actually anything withstanding, because yes, he may have some kind of actual feelings for these people in some capacity as he's gotten to know them, but at the heart of them, they are his enemy. And so does he actually enjoy them, or is he only trying to really befriend them in the sense that he then becomes close enough to slit their throats? That's pretty much like the whole idea that I get with this book, and I really like it. Now, the only reason it ended up being a 4 out of 5 stars, opposed to probably what would have been like a 5-star, is not because of the time it took me, but there were some parts, especially around like the main part of the story, which is when they are going through this really big kind of not really like battle, but there's this whole like part in the story that I would say probably is about 75% of the novel, if not maybe 60%, is where Darrow is being placed with a bunch of other people from the team that he was placed in, the team he was drafted to at school, which is House Mars. And they are basically going up against all of the other houses in their school, and they are trying to essentially not play really capture the flag necessarily, even though that's kind of how it's described, but it's more of like a battle of war. It is a battle where essentially they are looking to take over each other to see who is going to become victorious against the other teams. And that by itself involves a lot of death, because it is a ruthless game, and if you are not strong enough to get involved in that, then you are going to die very quickly, if not become a slave. Now, I'm going to mention also there are a lot of mentions of rape and sexual assault within all of that, because it is not pretty. This is not something that I would say is in any way a young adult story. This is definitely something that is more adult, grimdark, kind of a sci-fi fantasy kind of idea. But nonetheless, that while it was really good, I did feel like throughout parts of the novel I was losing the sequencing of events. Like, I could tell you for the most part what the main idea of the story had been in terms of what Darrow was doing and how everything ended up at the end. But there were like some smaller kind of scenes that helped to build the actual progression of things that I feel like I lost partway through. And I don't want to necessarily blame the time frame that it took me to read this, because honestly, even if it wasn't, I think that when I sat and basically binged through the rest of this book last night, listening to the audiobook while I was playing Dreamlight Valley, I still felt like I was losing some things, or I was not necessarily following everything the way that I wanted it to, but I really liked this a lot. I would really like to read at least the sequel, if not continue the entire series, because I really like the way Pierce has written Darrow. I like the kind of progression he's had in this book, and I feel like he became so bloodthirsty in this first book that I feel like at this point that may change when it comes to like the second book and like things happen. But this was a book that literally was all about revenge and taking that to an extreme, and then also like the complexities of that when you're trying to be somebody undercover like he is. He is a red that is undercover in a group of golds, which is like almost completely unheard of, and how difficult that is in terms of not only having to completely alter his appearance, which he has to do, but also have to alter his entire personality and placate to a group that he absolutely disdains in order to get close to them. Like how difficult that is in terms of an identity kind of thing. So I really liked this a lot. I thought this was so much fun, and I would like to pick up the sequel eventually when I have, I think gotten through most of the other books that were on my TBR for especially this month. Then last night I did finally start Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I got through probably the first like 62 pages of this last night before I went to sleep. I do have the audiobook on Audible, so that's making it easier for me to get through it, because again, I do better when wanting to read books through Audible. I don't necessarily count the audiobook minutes though, if especially I have the physical book to keep track in, because I want to keep track with the actual page count that the books are. If I do not have either the ebook or the actual physical book of a book and I just listen to the audiobook, that is when I will track the minutes, because I have only access to the audiobook, whereas I have the physical book. I'm just, I guess, not in the ability to sit and read or have the energy to sit and read with my eyes, that I would much rather listen to the story instead, but keep track in my actual physical book or ebook, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I've got through the first couple chapters as well as the prologue. This is gonna probably be something I'm gonna still give like a 3-star. I'm trying to keep my hopes up, and that especially once we get further into the story, it's gonna end up getting better and better. But as you guys may know, if you've been listening or watching my videos that have had anything to do with the Way of Kings series or the Stormlight Archive, they have not been my favorite series. It's been 3 stars almost every single book, which is not bad, but they are just not my favorite Brandon Sanderson books. They are extremely complicated. They are, you know, the biggest thing is I really like some of the characters. That's what's really propelling me through a lot of the story. Like, I just read an entire chapter where there was parts with Vale, who is one of the personalities, if you will, of Shallan, and Shallan is probably my favorite character in the entire series. I really like her, and especially with Oathbringer, I really enjoyed the complexity that was brought to her character when it came to the splitting of her personality between Vale and Radiant and the other one. I can't remember which one it is. It's going pretty okay. I mean, nothing spectacular to write home about really at this point. It's just kind of getting through the beginning of it. I know that there was a big thing between Kaladin and Syl here a minute ago, but I didn't really keep track of what was going on, other than the fact that Syl was right about something as usual, and Kaladin did not listen. That's all I really knew from his first chapter. But I'm gonna try my best to keep up with what's going on, because like I can kind of like somewhat keep track, but honestly I don't even remember too much about what happened in Oathbringer. I don't really remember much of any of the books really at this point. Like I said, this is not my favorite series of Brandon Sanderson's. It is incredibly complicated for me. I don't know why. It's like this and the Wheel of Time series, I am just not able to really 100% keep track of what's going on with them, which is fine. It's just, I think that I'm just not as invested maybe in these extremely epic fantasies that are like the Wheel of Time and the Stormlight Archive, because I've liked Brandon's other work. Do not get me wrong. You guys, if you've been watching me since I started this Brandon Sanderson read along with Bree and Brandy, like, you know, there's been some really big hits for me when it comes to Sanderson. This series, unfortunately, is just not one of them, which is fine. It is what it is. But I'm trying to give this one the benefit of the doubt, because I have heard that this is a really good one in terms of, like, not necessarily a conclusion, because I don't think it's the concluding novel of this series just yet, but that it is a really, really good installment in the Stormlight Archive. And in Oathbringer, we started to see how all of the other parts of the Cosmere were starting to kind of come together, and I think that in this one too, it's really that connection of all of the other, you know, systems in the Cosmere that are involved in this story. Like, we saw a lot of that with Wit and learning about, you know, who he is, and I think that this one in particular is supposed to also go further into his character and showcasing those different systems finally coming together for the first time. This is, like, I believe, the ultimate crossover books. Anyway, I am coming up on work right now. Like, I have only really one more turn, and then I'm gonna basically be at work, and I'm gonna be a little early, so I don't even know if the office is gonna be open. But I just wanted to come on and tell you guys how things are going, because I haven't really been able to talk to you for a couple of days, mostly because I had like really no progress to really report. But last night I had a lot more progress that I could report, which was very, very exciting. So I am gonna head out for right now, and I will speak to you guys when I've made some more progress in Rhythm of War. I'm gonna try to, and a key word is try, to update a little bit more, especially because with Battle of the Bookish, I want to try to keep up with, you know, points and stuff. Last I saw this, which was last night, Team Harry Dresden, which is my team, was just barely in the lead, but we were in the lead for quite a bit, at least for the first couple of days. And then last night when I went to put points in, we were just barely beating Team Sherlock, which this is going to be, I think, an interesting month because it's already like super close-knit. I forgot to mention, Red Rising does not count for anything for Battle of the Bookish because I had read more than 25% of this in December. By the time December 31st rolled around, I had read half of the book, so it would not count for any points for Battle of the Bookish, even page points, because that's part of the rules. Anything that is over 25% completed from the month before is not able to collect points because you've already read a good part of it, and it's just not fair to everybody else who, you know, might be just starting something in the beginning of January. So Rhythm of War, though, will count, and that's over 1,000 pages, so that's going to be an easy 200 points just on page points. So we'll see how the rest of it goes, but I will speak to you guys sometime later. Okay, another car clip, but it is quarter to 9, I mean, on Tuesday. I have the heater running because it is very cold this morning, so I'm sorry if that is really loud. I'll see whether or not I need to delete this clip or not, but we'll just go through the whole thing just because there's been a lot that's happened since yesterday. So first of which, reading wise, I did get through a lot of Rhythm of War yesterday. I read like 100 and I think like 70 some pages yesterday, pretty much just almost exclusively with the audiobook, but keeping again track in my physical book. I'm on page 230 something right now, and it's fine. Like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of happened, but like again, I feel like I'm just kind of coming in the middle of things, so I'm like not really sure what exactly is going on. The most I can tell you is that at some point Shallan got captured, and in this book specifically, Shallan we are seeing have actual like interactions not only with her personalities, but like they will come to the surface at any given point. It's not like something where it's like dissociative identity disorder where, you know, the personalities, they don't really remember things when they're blacked out. You know, when somebody switches from personality to personality, there's this idea of like blacking out with the other personality that they're switching from. And this is not the case with Shallan. Shallan's personalities are all, you know, in the same moment, seeing things happening. And so it's almost like a very fluid switch between each of them for different reasons, whether it's to be more mysterious with Veil or be more heroic with Radiant, or whatever the case may be. The three of them are all at the same time experiencing the same things, and so they all basically get the ability to interact in the same conversation, essentially. And it's kind of something that I guess gets like really played into, or at least like people like get it like really quickly. It's very strange. Kaladin is basically fighting a ton, like normal. He's, I think, still with Bridge 4 and everything. Kaladin's off doing something. I never can keep track of him, except that Syl is constantly reining him in and, you know, being sassy as all get out. And then Navani is really, I think, the one that takes center stage with most of the story, because Navani is basically trying to save the world in a sense, and the back of the book makes it seem like basically that she is going to have a massive influence in the overall end of this story, where like there's a lot of things that are going to happen that are going to come to a head, and she's really the one that's going to bring it about. So that's basically all I've got in terms of a reading update. Like I said, I read through a lot of it yesterday, and I think I'm going to try to do the same tonight if I can. Yesterday though, I had a bit of an accident. I ended up taking Oscar out on a walk during his afternoon walk when I go home on my lunch break and take him, and he tried to run after a couple of dogs that were walking down the other side of the road from us, and with me trying to grab him and rein him in because he's still not fully trained on being around other dogs yet, like he's still struggling with that part. I ended up basically falling and hurting my knee yesterday, which it's fine now. Like the worst that I feel is I have a little tenderness on like the side of my leg that I landed on my knee, but it's not even that bad. It was worse yesterday when I first did it, because it was that same kind of sensation where like when you ram your knee into like a bed frame or something, and then it's like really, really sore for like the rest of the day afterward. That's how it felt, except it was more the side of my knee and the side of my leg. It's not swollen, it's not broken, I can tell you that much, because my boss was really worried yesterday. I went back to work and I couldn't really put a lot of pressure on it without it being really sore, so I stayed off of it as much as I could. And today I woke up, it's really tender, more so like around my hip, which I think is because I was trying to overcompensate a little bit with my bad foot. Like I was trying to basically put a lot of pressure on my right foot, which doesn't hurt, but like the lack of usage of my foot yesterday, I think, has like atrophied some of the muscles in my hip, which is fine. Like, it's not bad, it's just a little tender like to sit on, so it's fine. Like, I can manage it though with work and everything, because my boss is like, we don't have a lot of appointments today, like, you don't have to get up and move around as much, you'll be fine. So I'm thankful for that. I did wake up though this morning at first with a migraine, and I think that that's actually starting to go, like, been going away now for a little bit, because I was almost about to call off from work today, but I decided to go in and pull myself up by my bootstraps and just kind of do the damn thing, because I have to go to work. I have to. There's a lot of stuff that I have to do, and I am fine enough to where I can manage and get through the day, so that is all I am basically doing right now. Other than that, not much has really happened. Like I said, my leg's fine, don't worry. It's not swollen, it's not broken. My boss was almost completely convinced that my knee was broken, which it wasn't. It wasn't that hard of a fall, but it definitely was a hard enough fall that, like, yesterday I was not doing okay. Like, my knee hurt really bad for a while, but I kept it up. I, had ice on it last night. Like, I was fine. It was fine, no big deal. And like I said, right now it's just a little bit more tender around my hip, which I think was also one of the places I fell hardest on when I fell. It always seems to be January is like the first experience every year that I get hurt, because when I was working from home at first, the first January that I was doing that, I slipped and fell and hurt my back, and that was in 2020, and that was 2021. So did I get hurt 2022 January? I don't think I did. I don't know if I did, but my heart hurt, because last January was when our rats died, and so my heart hurt, but I don't think I had an accident in January 2022. So apparently I needed to have another accident this year. So it is what it is. I'm okay though. Like, I'll be fine. It's just a little sore, but it's nothing I can't, work through, and just kind of keep off of it the best I can to keep it from hurting anymore. But yeah, I will have to go home and let Oscar out. I don't know if I'm going to take him for a walk necessarily, because I don't think I would be able to manage walking the entire time with that, even if it's a very short walk. So I'm just going to make sure that I go home and let him out and eat something while I'm home, because that is my lunch break, and I want to make sure that I eat something during my lunch. So anyway, as far as what's going on for tonight, I would like to, like I said, continue more with Rhythm of War. I think that because it's still fairly early in the book, not like a lot has really happened that I can tell you guys for certain on. I'm hoping that with the chunk of that I'm going to probably read today, I can have a little bit more to say later. And I don't know what exactly I'm planning on doing tonight. I played a lot of Dreamlight Valley last night, and I kind of want to do some more of that again today. But I think it's going to depend on what Robert and I decide to do, because I don't know whether or not he wants to do something with me tonight, like we want to watch a movie or something. Like, I guess I'll leave that up to him. So anyway, I'm going to head out for right now, because I'm almost to work, and I have got a lot of stuff I have to do. So I'll talk to you guys later today when I have made hopefully some more progress in Rhythm of War, and we'll see how I'm faring with it, because I don't know. I feel like at some point I have to give up the ghost with this series, and I think after at least this one I'm going to, because while I have enjoyed Brandon's writing for, like I said yesterday, the rest of his series, this is just not the one for me. This is, I think, just something I have to try again much later on my own, because I am just incapable right now of following anything that's going on with this. So we'll see, but I don't know. I'm at the point where I'm like 20% of the way through this right now, so it's possible that I could DNF it if I decided to and feel comfortable with that, but I don't really know if I want to do that, just because I do want to know like what ends up happening by the end of this, because it's the ultimate crossover with all the Cosmere. Like, that's a big thing. So I think I'm going to truck through it and see what, it ends up being at the end of it, but we'll see. Hey guys, so pardon me as I am in the process of cleaning the office a little bit because I've been meaning to clean this room up for going on weeks now, and I finally got the gumption to do it so I could help my husband out a little bit just because I've been really busy. But he actually helped me too by helping me decide on a video to film for today because I had an idea for a video that did not necessarily pan out. So I needed a new one, and he gave me a really good idea, which actually is part of a Christmas present that he got for me that I've been trying to figure out when I was going to be able to make it. But I figured too that before I went upstairs and did some filming and left him alone with the dog, I was going to go ahead and help clean up the office because he's going to probably be in here most of the day playing games, and so I want him to be able to do that without much clutter. And I've been, like I said, meaning to clean. I just really haven't had either the time or the energy to, and today I have both, so figured why the heck not. While I did that, I figured I'd update you guys on how things have been going because I haven't been able to talk to you guys for a couple of days. So first of which being I'm making a lot more progress in the Rhythm of War. I am currently on chapter 40. I think, if not over 500 pages through the book, I am just about to hit 500 pages, which is exciting. That means I am about halfway through the book almost, and it's actually going a lot better than I thought. I'm still not necessarily like 100% sure of what is going on with everybody. So far, this is the most interesting of the books that I've gotten to. Like, this is still probably going to be more of a 3-star depending on how the rest of the book goes, but it's a higher 3-star in my mind than any of the other books, which is already progress because y'all know I've struggled with this series so much, but so far this is going really, really well. Also, I don't think I actually showed you guys any of the books I ended up picking up in the last couple of days because I've had to pick up some books that were on hold for me at the library, one of which being The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. This is the book club book for Brandy's membership book club that is for January. This is another chunky fantasy. I would like to try to get through this by the end of the month because, like I said, they're doing this for their book club, so got that one. I still have a few things on hold, but I have a couple more books that I picked up, which are, for instance, the first 2 books in the Consortium series, which are by Jesse Mahalik. This is a sci-fi series that I'm going to be doing for my Finish Your DNF series for this month. That video will be coming out in February. I still have yet to get the 3rd and final book in this series, but I also have, I think, a few other books still on hold that I'm waiting to come in. So one thing I want to do is I need to organize this mess that is here on this desk here. This is kind of like an extra desk, which has like my little bookshelf thing here that's kind of buried. So I need to like do something with that. But I wanted to show you the thing that I'm going to be filming later today in terms of building it because this was a gift from my husband for Christmas. It is one of those really cool like little bookshelf diorama things. And it's supposed to basically be a train, but it looks like the Hogwarts Express. It's not actually the Hogwarts Express, but it looks very similar to it. So I am really excited for this. This is basically a time travel one though, so it's actually more of like a sci-fi train. They come in like 4 different kinds. There's the Sakura Densia, which is like a cherry blossom inspired one in Japan. There's Sunshine Town, Magic House, and then this one, which is time travel. So I don't know how long exactly it will take for me to make this. My husband said it would probably take me quite a bit of time, so I'm going to try to film as much of making this as I can. But this might be something where it's going to take me more of like a couple of days as opposed to like getting it all done in one day kind of thing. So we'll see. But I would like to make this for my bookshelf for one of my videos. So by the time this video goes out, this video will be out on Saturday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, I gotta organize this whole mess here because this has just been a travesty. So I have basically just had to put away a lot of things, one of which being a gift from my boss, which was these really pretty earrings. So I gotta like figure out where to put these, which is probably gonna be upstairs somewhere because I'm not gonna really wear them too much because I don't wear earrings much anymore. But also another really cool thing, this was a gift from one of my cousins. She made this, like she painted this entire thing. And I don't know if you guys could really tell unless you were like really big fans of the series, but this is the Lord of the Rings inspired one. Like you have the Eye of Sauron right here, and then right down here is the whole gang. And they're traveling through the mountains. That's kind of the idea. My cousin said that basically when she was making this, that she at first didn't really know what she was going to make, and then she just kind of started drawing and painting and then realized, oh my gosh, it's Lord of the Rings, which she knows I'm a huge fan of because she's also a giant geek. So love this. This was my Christmas present from her. It's basically a little tree ornament that I can put on my tree. So I'm gonna probably go throw this on there real quick just so that's out of the way. And then that way too, I can make sure that I use it next year for Christmas. So yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna do. Is I'm just gonna kind of clean this up here for a minute, and then after my husband gets back from walking Oscar, I'm gonna go upstairs. But basically I'm gonna take all the books on my TBR and put them on the bookshelf that's over here so that they actually are here in the office and I have access to them. And then I gotta figure out how to clean up the rest of my desk. So we're gonna go get started with that. Good morning, everybody. It is just after 10:30 in the morning on Monday. I was planning on doing that video of putting together that diorama. That did not work out at all. I actually got very frustrated with it because the pieces are so thin, essentially, I kept breaking them. It became something where the further I went through and started trying to build that, the more it was breaking, the less likely it was going to be that it would actually turn out decently. So I'm really sad because I, for one, was getting really frustrated with it because of the fact that it was impossible to get pieces to stick together exactly the way I wanted them to. I am not very good when it comes to extremely fine motor skills. I found the best way I can describe trying to put this thing together was the idea of somebody making a ship in a bottle kind of thing, and how extremely tedious and fine your motor skills have to be to make something like that. That's the equivalent of what this was. And I think it was a really good idea at first to have, because it would be really cool if somebody else was able to build it, basically. But because it was going to be something I was going to have to build, it did not turn out the way I wanted it to. And it was supposed to, I guess, teach me a little bit of patience, because my husband believes that I have little patience, which I do. I'm not going to lie. But this was not, I think, the way to teach me, because it was partially, the more I got frustrated, it was also ending up being the more that I was just breaking things by accident because I was getting so frustrated. I think it was a good idea in theory. I just wish that I could have been able to actually put it together and stuff. So today I have therapy like I normally do at noon, and then Oscar, hello. You'll be okay for 5 minutes. Can you sit? Then later has training. He has his last day of training finally. We haven't had our trainer come by in about 3 weeks because of the holidays and stuff. But today should be his last day, which he's struggled a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I think it's been because of all the chaos and then going back to work. After all of that, it kind of just threw him for a loop. So he was struggling for a few days in terms of listening and actively paying attention to our commands and stuff. But otherwise, he's doing pretty okay. Like I said, he needs to probably go potty right now. But I have another video idea that I basically wanted to share with you guys here. That'll be what ends up going out on Saturday, because for one, it's really easy to do, and two, it's actually something I've been thinking about doing to some extent for a while and was trying to find the best way to do it. So I'm decided I'm gonna take anything that I end up getting in the next year that I either purchase through gift cards or I get as gifts kind of thing, because I'm on a book buying ban this year, and I'm going to wrap those books. And then at some point in the year, I can possibly unwrap one of them if, for instance, I land on the prompt of a wrapped book on my Wheel of D20. Or if I basically am trying to fulfill a prompt that I don't really feel like I have any, books currently that I know would fit that in a sense, I could unwrap one of those books and see which one would work, because, it's going to be a complete surprise. It's going to be randomized anyway by number, so it would be interesting. Plus, I think it would just be really fun, because I see all the time people do these unwrapping books video things, and I really think it's fun. I just want to do it a little bit differently, and especially because I want to make sure that I don't have, really any purchases other than through things like gift cards that I get or books that I get as gifts for whatever reason. I think that this would be a really interesting way to kind of like, especially if I end up getting anticipated releases over the year through gift cards or gifts or something like that, being able to unwrap those at a later point in time and then be able to add those to my TBR for the month. But I'm gonna go take Oscar out real quick because he needs to go potty. But I did want to end this vlog here because I am going to be basically editing after I film that video real quick. So I don't really have much more I can really talk about right now. Going into next week, it's a normal work week, so whether or not I'm going to get a lot done, I don't really know. I will say I've gone through a large chunk of Rhythm of War this week, which I was really happy with. I'm currently on page 566, so I'm not quite, actually I think I might be almost halfway through the book, which is good. The audiobook I still have like over 16 hours left of, so I do plan on reading more of that tonight. But as it stands now, for Battle of the Bookish at least, Team Harry Dresden is in the lead. We have a good lead on most of the other teams, which is exciting. We are currently sitting at, as of this morning, at, like I said, about 10:45 right now. We have an average of 542 points, which is almost 200 points ahead of one of the other teams, which this would be Team Sherlock with 347.78, and then Team Poirot is coming in at 248.33. So I think it is still anybody's game. It's only the first full like week that we've had of the readathon, so it is still anybody's game. This can change like drastically. I mean, many of you guys know that have been a part of this for a while will know that the results of this end up becoming down to the wire by the end of the month. So it is anybody's game. You still have the rest of the month to get your points in if you are participating. Don't forget to make sure to get those in. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.